First, let me create a detailed outline for this new story. I never imagined my wedding day would end with my fiancée Sophia walking out of the church on my brother Marcus's arm. 3 years together, countless promises all shattered in an instant when she announced to everyone that she had fallen in love with him instead. The worst part, my parents stood up and hugged them both, claiming they had always known they were meant to be. I stood alone at the altar watching my future collapse, as my entire family betrayed me for the golden child they had always preferred. If you are watching this right now, drop a comment telling me where you are from, and hit that subscribe button to join me on this journey of family betrayal and unexpected redemption. This story might make you question everything about family loyalty, so stick around to see how karma eventually comes full circle. I met Sophia Carter at a charity gala hosted by my company. I was 32, established in my career as an architectural engineer, and tired of the dating scene in Boston. She worked in event planning and had organized the entire evening. I noticed her immediately, not just because she was beautiful with her honey blonde hair and warm brown eyes, but because of how effortlessly she handled everything. When the keynote speaker canceled last minute, she calmly rearranged the schedule without anyone even noticing the disruption. I introduced myself at the bar after most guests had left. She was tallying receipts, looking exhausted but satisfied with how the event had gone. I complimented her work and offered to buy her a drink. She declined initially, citing professionalism, but I left my card anyway. To my surprise, she called me the next day, suggesting coffee instead. That coffee turned into dinner, and dinner turned into 3 incredible years together. Sophia was everything I had been looking for without realizing it. She was organized where I was scattered, patient where I was impulsive, and dreamy where I was practical. We balanced each other perfectly. She supported my career ambitions, even when I took on challenging projects that required long hours. I supported her decision to start her own event planning business, helping her with the business plan and initial investment. We moved in together after a year, adopting a rescue terrier mix named Cooper, who became our fur baby. Our apartment became a true home, something I had never really experienced growing up in my parents' cold, achievement-focused household. With Sophia, I learned what it meant to be truly comfortable with someone else. I proposed on our 3rd anniversary during a weekend trip to Cape Cod. I had arranged for a private sunset dinner on the beach, with fairy lights strung up around us and her favorite music playing softly. When I got down on one knee, her eyes filled with tears before I even finished asking the question. She said yes, immediately jumping into my arms so quickly I almost dropped the ring in the sand. The next 6 months were filled with wedding plans. Sophia was in her element, coordinating vendors and designing the perfect day. We settled on a ceremony at the historic Trinity Church in Boston, followed by a reception at the Fairmont Copley Plaza. Everything was coming together beautifully. My family seemed supportive at first. My mother helped with dress shopping, and my father offered to contribute to the wedding costs. I should have known their sudden interest in my happiness was too good to be true. Growing up with Marcus had always been challenging. 2 years younger than me, he was the undisputed favorite child, while I was expected to excel academically and pursue a sensible career. Marcus was praised for his free spirit and entrepreneurial mind. In reality, this meant he bounced from one failed venture to another, while my parents continually bailed him out financially. Marcus had the kind of charisma that made people forgive his flaws. He could charm anyone with his stories and promises, leaving a trail of disappointed investors and heartbroken girlfriends in his wake. Yet somehow our parents never lost faith in him. "He just has not found his calling yet," my mother would say, after each business failure. I had moved away from home, partly to escape his shadow. In Boston, 400 miles from our hometown of Pittsburgh, I had built my own life and reputation based on hard work and reliability. I saw Marcus only at holidays and family events, which suited me fine. So when Marcus called announcing he was moving to Boston to explore opportunities in the tech sector, alarm bells immediately rang in my head. He had never shown any interest in technology before, but suddenly he had ideas for an app that would revolutionize social networking. I knew what this really meant. He had exhausted his welcome elsewhere and needed a fresh start. My parents pressured me to help him get settled. Family takes care of family. My father reminded me during a particularly tense phone call. Against my better judgment, I agreed to let Marcus stay with us for 2 weeks while he found an apartment. 2 weeks turned into a month. Marcus and Sophia got along surprisingly well, which initially relieved me. She found his stories amusing and seemed impressed by his ambitious plans. I was grateful that my fiancé and brother were bonding naively, thinking it would make our future family gatherings more pleasant. What I did not see was how Marcus watched Sophia when he thought no one was looking. I missed the private jokes that developed between them. I overlooked how often they texted each other, even when I was in the same room. Most of all, I failed to recognize how my parents encouraged their friendship, inviting them both to lunch while I was working or asking Sophia to help Marcus apartment hunt. The first real warning sign came when I arrived home early from a business trip and found them cooking dinner together. There was nothing explicitly inappropriate happening, but the domesticity of the scene struck me as odd. They were laughing music, playing wine glasses already half empty. They looked startled when I walked in, almost guilty. "We were not expecting you until tomorrow," Sophia said quickly, moving to hug me. "Meeting ended early," I explained, noticing how Marcus avoided eye contact. "Great timing, bro," he finally said. "Sophia has been teaching me some cooking basics. Figured it is time I learned how to fend for myself." I brushed it off as innocent, but something felt wrong. That night, I asked Sophia how things had been going with Marcus staying with us. "Fine," she said casually. "He is actually pretty helpful around the house when you are gone. He fixed that leaky faucet in the guest bathroom." "That is good," I said, then added, "He seems to be overstaying his welcome a bit." Sophia frowned. "He is your brother, William, and he is really trying to get his life together this time. The least we can do is support him." Her defense of Marcus surprised me, but I let it go. After all, Sophia had always been compassionate. It was one of the qualities I loved about her. Over the next few weeks, Marcus finally found his own apartment, but he remained a constant presence in our lives. He would drop by unannounced often when I was working late. He joined our weekend plans without invitation. He called Sophia directly rather than reaching out to me. When I mentioned these concerns to Sophia, she dismissed them. "He is new in town and does not know many people. He is just trying to build a social circle." My parents, meanwhile, started calling more frequently, always asking about Marcus, always suggesting we include him in our wedding plans. "He would make a wonderful best man," my mother hinted during one call. I already asked my college roommate mom. "Marcus will be a groomsman, of course." "Well, I think you should reconsider. Your brother has really matured lately." These conversations happened more and more frequently as the wedding approached. My parents seemed unusually invested in our plans, offering suggestions that always centered around giving Marcus a more prominent role. 2 months before the wedding, I noticed a definite shift in Sophia's behavior. She became secretive about her phone, changing her password and angling the screen away from me. She started having emergency work meetings that kept her out late, sometimes returning home with the faint smell of my brother's distinctive cologne. Our intimacy dwindled. She claimed wedding stress and work pressure were affecting her energy levels. I tried to be understanding, picking up more household responsibilities and suggesting weekend getaways to help her relax, but she always found reasons to decline. "I have too much to do," she would say. "The wedding is coming up fast, and there are still so many details to finalize." Yet somehow, she always had time for family dinners that included Marcus. These gatherings became weekly occurrences, often scheduled when I had standing work commitments. My mother would call afterward, telling me what a lovely time they had all had, how Sophia and Marcus had the same taste in music, or how they had the same ideas about child rearing. "It is almost like they share a brain sometimes," my mother commented once with a strange note in her voice I could not quite identify. During this period, I noticed my parents and brother having frequent hushed conversations that stopped abruptly when I entered the room. Once I overheard my father telling Marcus, "Just be patient. These things have a way of working themselves out." I tried addressing my concerns with Sophia directly. We were having a rare, quiet evening at home. Cooper curled between us on the sofa when I gathered my courage. "Is everything okay with us?" I asked. "You seem distant lately." She looked up from her wedding planner's surprise, crossing her features. Everything is fine. Why would you ask that? You have been working late a lot. We barely talk anymore, and you spend more time with my family than with me these days. Sophia sighed, closing her binder. Your family has been incredibly supportive with the wedding planning. Your mom has connections with some amazing vendors, and Marcus has a friend who is giving us a discount on the flowers. It just seems like you and Marcus have gotten very close, I said carefully. Her expression hardened slightly. Are you jealous of your own brother? He is going to be your best man. What? No, he is not. Trevor is my best man. Sophia looked confused. But your mother said you had changed your mind. She told me last week that you decided Marcus would be better suited. This was the first I had heard of this. I never said that. Well, maybe you should consider it. He is your brother after all. The conversation devolved from there, with Sophia defending my family's increasing involvement in our wedding and dismissing my concerns as insecurity. We went to bed angry for the first time in our relationship. The next morning, she apologized for the argument but never addressed the actual issues I had raised. My bachelor party was scheduled for 3 weeks before the wedding. Trevor had organized a weekend fishing trip at a cabin in New Hampshire, low-key, just what I wanted. Marcus had been invited but declined, claiming he had an important investor meeting. The trip started well, but on the second night, I developed a severe migraine. After trying unsuccessfully to sleep it off, I decided to head back to Boston early while the others finished the weekend. I did not call ahead, not wanting to disrupt anyone's Saturday night plans. When I arrived home around 9:00 p.m., I was surprised to hear voices coming from our apartment. Sophia had mentioned going to dinner with her bridesmaids, but these were clearly not female voices. I quietly unlocked the door and stepped inside. Sophia and Marcus were sitting at our kitchen island wine glasses in hand, heads close together as they looked at something on her laptop. They did not notice me at first, too engrossed in their conversation. They will never understand, Marcus was saying. But sometimes you have to follow your heart, even if people get hurt. I know, Sophia replied softly, but the timing is terrible. The wedding is so soon. Sooner is better than after, Marcus insisted. Trust me on this. I must have made some noise then, because they both looked up suddenly. The guilt on their faces was unmistakable. William, Sophia stood quickly. You are back early. Clearly, I said coldly, looking between them. What is going on here? Just helping with some last-minute wedding details, Marcus said smoothly, but he would not meet my eyes. At 9 on a Saturday night, with wine, looking at what exactly, I moved closer to the laptop. Sophia quickly closed it. Just some surprise elements for the reception. Nothing for you to worry about. I did not believe them for a second. Let me see your phone, I said to Sophia. What? No? That is private. If there is nothing going on, then you should have nothing to hide. Marcus stepped between us. Bro, you need to calm down. You are acting crazy right now. Am I? Because finding my fiancé and my brother having a cozy evening in my apartment while I am supposed to be away feels pretty crazy to me. The argument escalated quickly. Sophia refused to show me her messages. Marcus kept trying to deflect and normalize the situation, and I grew increasingly certain I was being deceived. Finally, I demanded that Marcus leave. Surprisingly, Sophia defended him staying. We were not finished discussing the wedding plans, she insisted. What plans could possibly be so important that they cannot wait until tomorrow? Unless this is not about the wedding at all. You know what, I will go, Marcus finally said. Sophia, we will talk tomorrow. The look that passed between them confirmed my worst fears. After he left, I confronted Sophia directly. She denied everything, claiming I was paranoid and controlling. But when she went to shower, I did something I had never done before. I checked her phone, which she had left charging in the kitchen. The messages between her and Marcus went back months. They started innocuously enough, but gradually became more intimate. The most recent exchanges were explicit declarations of feelings, discussions about their connection, and most devastatingly, plans to tell me the truth. Marcus, we need to tell him before the wedding. It would be worse to go through with it. Sophia, I know. But your parents think we should wait until after the honeymoon. They said, William will accept it better then. Marcus, My parents just want to avoid scandal. But I cannot watch you marry him, knowing how we feel about each other. I confronted Sophia with the messages when she returned. At first, she was furious that I had invaded her privacy, but eventually the truth came pouring out. She and Marcus had developed feelings for each other shortly after he moved to Boston. My parents had noticed their connection and shockingly encouraged it. They said you and I were never right for each other. Sophia admitted tearfully that Marcus and I have a special bond they had never seen before. They convinced me to give it time to be sure of my feelings before breaking things off. So my entire family has been conspiring behind my back. I was incredulous. They were trying to minimize hurt feelings, she claimed. They thought if we handled it carefully, everyone could still be happy. The next day, my parents called an emergency family meeting at their hotel. They had come to Boston for final wedding preparations or so, I thought. When I arrived, Marcus and Sophia were already there, sitting together on the small sofa. My father took charge immediately. "William, we need to discuss some developments that affect the wedding." "You mean how my fiancé and brother have been sneaking around behind my back with your blessing?" I asked bitterly. My mother reached for my hand, which I pulled away. "Darling, sometimes life takes unexpected turns. We have watched Sophia and Marcus together, and there is something special there, something that you and Sophia never had." I could not believe what I was hearing. My own mother was telling me that my relationship of 3 years was inferior to whatever had developed between my brother and fiancé over a few months. "We think the most sensible solution is to postpone the wedding," my father continued pragmatically. "The venue and arrangements can be transferred to Marcus and Sophia once they are ready." Transfer my wedding? I was speechless. "It makes financial sense," my father explained. "The deposits have already been paid. It would be wasteful to cancel everything." "We really believe this is meant to be," my mother added. "Marcus and Sophia share the same values, the same vision for the future. They complement each other in ways you and Sophia never did." Throughout this conversation, Sophia sat silently, occasionally nodding in agreement. Marcus had the decency to look somewhat ashamed, but made no move to contradict my parents. "So what am I supposed to do?" I finally asked. "Step aside gracefully. While my brother takes my fiancé in my wedding, we are hoping you will understand that this is for the best," my mother said. "Families should support each other's happiness. Marcus has finally found his purpose with Sophia." I looked at them, these people who were supposed to love me unconditionally, and saw nothing but strangers. Without another word, I walked out. Despite everything, some irrational part of me still hoped there had been a misunderstanding, that Sophia would realize what she was throwing away and come back to me, that my family would recognize the gravity of their betrayal. I did not cancel the wedding, clinging to the possibility that this nightmare might still resolve itself. The morning of our wedding day arrived bright and clear. I dressed in my tuxedo, mechanically dismissing Trevor's concerned glances. He was the only one who knew the full story, having helped me move into a hotel after the confrontation with my family. He had urged me to cancel the ceremony, but I had refused. "She will not go through with it," I told him. 3 years together means something. She will realize that at the church." Trevor did not believe me, but he stood by me anyway, driving me to Trinity Church where guests were already gathering. My parents were there, looking solemn but determined. Marcus was nowhere to be seen, which gave me a flicker of hope. The ceremony was scheduled for 2:00 p.m. At 2:15, with guests shifting uncomfortably in their seats, the wedding planner approached me at the altar. "The bride is ready now," she whispered, looking uncomfortable. The traditional wedding march began, and the doors opened. Sophia appeared in her wedding gown, breathtaking, as I had always imagined she would be. But instead of her father escorting her, Marcus walked by her side, also wearing a tuxedo. Confused murmurs spread through the congregation as they proceeded down the aisle. When they reached the altar, Sophia did not take her place beside me. Instead, she turned to address our guests. "I want to thank everyone for coming today," she began, her voice steady. "But there has been a change of plans. I cannot marry William." Gasps echoed through the church. "Over the past few months, I have realized that my heart belongs to someone else." She looked at Marcus, who took her hand. I have fallen in love with Marcus, and he loves me too. We did not plan for this to happen, but sometimes life surprises you with where you truly belong. Marcus stepped forward then. William has always been the responsible one, the planner, the steady hand in our family. I have been the disappointment, the failure. But meeting Sophia changed everything for me. She believes in me in a way no one ever has. We did not want to hurt William, but we cannot deny our feelings. My parents stood up from the front row. We support Marcus and Sophia's decision, my father announced. And we hope that in time, everyone here will understand that this is for the best. The church erupted in shocked conversations. I stood frozen at the altar, unable to process what was happening. Trevor gripped my shoulder, preventing me from collapsing. Did you all plan this? I finally managed to ask, my voice barely audible over the commotion. Was this whole spectacle intentional? We thought it would be easier this way, my mother explained. Everyone is already here, and this way you can see that Sophia and Marcus truly belong together. Easier, I repeated in disbelief. You thought publicly humiliating me would be easier. We are not trying to humiliate you, Sophia insisted. We wanted to be honest. Honest would have been telling me months ago. Honest would have been canceling the wedding. This is cruel. With those words, I finally walked away. Trevor followed me out of the church, shielding me from the stares and whispers. In the parking lot, I vomited behind a hedge, my entire body shaking with shock and rage. Let me take you home, Trevor offered. I do not have a home anymore, I realized. Sophia would undoubtedly return to our apartment, probably with Marcus in tow. I spent that night in Trevor's guest room, unable to sleep, replaying the day's events in an endless loop. The next morning, I packed what few belongings I had and boarded a train to New York, where a college friend had offered me his couch until I figured out my next steps. Over the following weeks, I systematically cut all ties with my family. I blocked their numbers, returned mail unopened, and ignored their attempts to contact me through friends. I took a job with an architectural firm in Chicago, starting fresh in a city where nobody knew my story. The betrayal changed me fundamentally. I threw myself into work, earning rapid promotions and professional recognition. I bought a sleek downtown condo with views of Lake Michigan. From the outside, my life looked successful, even enviable. But I kept everyone at arm's length, unwilling to risk being hurt again. 3 years passed this way. I had no contact with my family and no knowledge of what had become of Sophia and Marcus. I assumed they had married using the arrangements that should have been for my wedding, but I never looked them up online or asked mutual friends for updates. It was better not to know. Then one rainy Tuesday afternoon, my phone rang with an unknown Boston number. Something compelled me to answer. William. The voice was instantly recognizable, though rougher than I remembered. It is Sophia. My first instinct was to hang up, but curiosity kept me on the line. What do you want? I need help, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. Marcus has changed. He is not the person I thought he was. That is not my problem, I replied coldly. Please, she begged. He controls everything, my money, my phone, who I can see. Your parents will not listen to me. They think I am exaggerating. Despite my resentment, her fear sounded genuine. Are you in danger? Not physically, not yet, she said. But I am afraid of what might happen if I try to leave. He has threatened to ruin me professionally. He says no one will believe me because of how we got together. The irony was not lost on me. The woman who had betrayed me was now asking for my help escaping my brother. Part of me wanted to refuse her, to tell her she had made her bed and now had to lie in it. But another part, the part that had once loved her, could not ignore someone in trouble. Where are you now? I asked. At a coffee shop near our apartment. Marcus is at a business meeting. I told him I was meeting a potential client. Do you have somewhere safe to go if you leave? My sister is in Connecticut. She would take me in, but Marcus has tracking software on my phone and car. I considered my options. I had an important project deadline the next day, but this seemed more urgent. I will be on the next flight to Boston, I heard myself saying. Find a way to stay out of the apartment until I get there. My decision to help Sophia was not about rekindling our relationship. That door had closed permanently on our wedding day. but I could not ignore someone in danger, even someone who had hurt me deeply. I arrived in Boston late that evening, checking into a downtown hotel, rather than announcing my return to anyone from my past. Sophia met me in the hotel lobby, looking drastically different from the confident woman I had known. She had lost weight. Her clothes were conservative and unmemorable, and she kept glancing nervously toward the entrance. "Thank you for coming," she said, not quite meeting my eyes. "You said you needed help leaving," I replied. "Tell me what is going on." Over the next hour, Sophia detailed a relationship that had quickly turned controlling after they married. Marcus had convinced her to merge their finances, then gradually restricted her access to their accounts. He had isolated her from friends under the guise of starting fresh. He monitored her communications and required her to share her location at all times. "Your parents think he is being protective," she explained. "They say I should be grateful for his attention after what I did to you. They remind me constantly that I chose this. That does not make his behavior acceptable," I said. "No one deserves to be controlled, regardless of their past mistakes." I helped Sophia develop an exit plan. We purchased a prepaid phone and removed the tracking software from her laptop. I booked her a rental car using my information and prepared a financial bridge to help her restart her life. All of this was done without any romantic intentions. I simply could not walk away from someone who needed help. The next morning, while Marcus was at a regular therapy appointment, ironically for his abandonment issues, Sophia gathered essential documents and a small bag of belongings. I waited in a car nearby, watching for any signs of trouble. When she emerged from the building, looking terrified, but determined, I felt a strange sense of closure. We drove to the rental car agency in silence. As she prepared to leave for her sister's home, she finally looked directly at me. "I know it means nothing now, but I am truly sorry for what I did to you," she said. "I got caught up in something that seemed exciting and flattering, and I lost sight of what really mattered. What we had was real and good, and I threw it away for an illusion. I hope you find peace," I replied, not offering forgiveness, but not harboring hatred either. "And Sophia, do not go back, no matter what he promises. People like Marcus do not change." She nodded, tears streaming down her face, and drove away. I watched until her car turned the corner, then called a rideshare to take me to my parents' home. It was time for another confrontation. My parents were visibly shocked when they opened the door to find me on their doorstep. 3 years had passed without a word, and I had changed considerably. My father recovered first, attempting to embrace me, but I stepped back. "William, this is unexpected," my mother said, her eyes filling with tears. "Are you finally ready to put the past behind us?" "I am here about Sophia," I said flatly. Their expressions changed immediately. "What about her?" my father asked cautiously. "Did you know Marcus has been controlling and manipulating her, that she has been essentially trapped in their marriage?" My mother shook her head dismissively. "She has been making problems where there are none. Marcus takes care of her. She should be grateful after how she behaved." Taking care of someone does not mean controlling their every move, I countered. He installed tracking software on her devices. He monitors her bank accounts. He isolates her from friends. He worries about her, my father insisted. "After what happened with you, he has trust issues." I laughed bitterly. "After what happened with me? You mean after he stole my fiancée with your act of encouragement? That is rich, Dad." My parents exchanged glances, something shifting in their expressions. For the first time, I sensed uncertainty in their united front. "We thought they were in love," my mother said quietly. "They seemed perfect together. You and Sophia were always so different, but she and Marcus shared the same spirit. And now that you have seen who Marcus really is, do you still think they are perfect together?" My father sank into his armchair, suddenly looking his age. "We may have made a mistake," he admitted reluctantly. "Marcus has been different since the wedding. More controlling, more angry. He was always like that," I said. "You just chose not to see it. You enabled his worst qualities his entire life, and now Sophia is paying the price." "Where is she?" my mother asked suddenly. "Is she with you? She is safe, and that is all you need to know. I did not come here for a reunion. I came to tell you that I helped Sophia escape, and when Marcus comes looking for her, you need to stop protecting him. For once in your lives, hold him accountable for his actions. I turned to leave, but my father's voice stopped me. William, wait. We were wrong. About everything. We chose Marcus over you because he always seemed to need us more. We thought we were doing what was best for everyone, but we were blind. Can you ever forgive us? I looked at my parents, older now, diminished somehow, and felt a complex mix of emotions. Forgiveness takes time, I finally said. I am not ready for that yet, but I am willing to start with honesty. That is all I can offer right now. It was not a Hollywood reconciliation, but it was a beginning. I left Boston the next day, returning to my life in Chicago with a lighter heart. Sometimes standing up to the people who hurt you is more healing than cutting them off completely. 5 years have passed since that confrontation. I have rebuilt my relationship with my parents on new terms, adult to adult, with clear boundaries and expectations. Marcus eventually found Sophia at her sister's home, causing a scene that resulted in a restraining order. Last I heard, he had moved to California to reinvent himself again. As for me, I found love again with Kate, a structural engineer who works at a competing firm. We met during a contentious city planning meeting and bonded over our mutual frustration with bureaucratic red tape. She knows my full history and has helped me learn to trust again. Life has a strange way of coming full circle. The betrayal that once defined me has become just one chapter in a much longer story. I still have the occasional nightmare about standing at that altar while my world collapsed around me, but those dreams come less frequently now. Have you ever had your trust broken by the people who should have protected you most? How did you rebuild your life afterward? Share your experience in the comments below. If my story resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more authentic stories about family betrayal and healing. Share this with someone who might need to hear that survival is possible even after the worst betrayals. Thank you for listening to my journey, and remember that sometimes the most painful endings lead to unexpected new beginnings.